friends, my name's Kat. Welcome to my channel and today's video. So we are starting off a new weekly vlog today, and it is going to be 100% focused on continuing on in series. So one thing I am really ridiculously bad at is actually prioritizing series and working on finishing off the ones I've started. I have a lot of series started right now that have had very little progress in, and we are going to really put a heavy emphasis this year on actually finishing these. So we probably weekly, for bi-weekly I mean once 1 week a month for the next year, we'll be doing a reading vlog where we are 100% focused entirely on series. And I'm going to today try to do up like a spreadsheet of all the series I have on the go, how many books I need to read in each one, and like just to get up to date and, you know, like caught up on all of them or completely finish them off. And then we're going to see like what I can really prioritize to get these done, because I know there's a lot. Like just thinking back on some of the books that I read last year, like how many intros to series I started and then did not continue. There's a lot, and I really want to try and put a bigger emphasis on that. So we absolutely will be just continuing series. I'll try not to do too many details about a lot of what's going on. It will be very spoiler free because we will be doing a ton of different series, but just kind of talking about the general plot and a bit about my feelings on each one. So not sure where I'll be starting with yet. I know that I do have several, I have a lot of my physical TBR. I have a lot checked out on Libby. I have a lot on KU, and I'm not sure yet where I really want to go. So I think my first thing I'm going to do today is start on that spreadsheet that I want to do of seeing every series that I have. I do think I probably this week at least will prioritize some of the books I have on Libby, which actually let's just quickly talk over those. So very quickly, some of the ones that I have. Age of Swords by Michael J. Sullivan. This is the sequel to Age of something, but it's book 2 in a series. I know I own the first book, I just forgot the name of that one, but it is book 2 in a series. An Echo of Things to Come by James Islington. This is the sequel to The Shadow of What Was Lost. Really enjoyed that. Jade Legacy by Fonda Lee. This is book 3 in the Jade City series. So if I read that one, I could actually finish off the trilogy. The Darkness Within Us by Trisha Levenseller. This is the sequel to The Shadows Between Us, I think is what it was called. So again, if I read this one, I technically will be finishing off a series. So maybe I'll focus on those. Maybe I'll focus on the ones that are really like finishing off a series this week. The Shutouts by Gabrielle Korn. This is, I don't know if it's considered series or just companion novel, but it is the second book in a world. So maybe I'll focus on that one too. And then on Kindle, I have The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang, which is the sequel to The Poppy War, which if you didn't know, all of these are on Kindle Unlimited, which is fantastic. Hita the Everflame, book 3 in a fantasy romance series. Entangled by Rebecca Quinn, book 2 in a dystopian Why Choose romance, which if I read that, I'd be up to date. Twisted Soul by Morgan Bailey, fantasy romance, Why Choose romance. Again, no, this book 3, I think the 4th book's being released later this year, so I would be fairly caught up. Lady of Shadows by Melissa K. Rorich, book 2 in a fantasy romance series. Throne of Broken Gods by Amber V. Nicole, book 2 in a fantasy romance series. So like those are a few that I just have on my iPad. Tons more to take a look at, and I do really need to figure out which one I'm going to start with. But I think, yeah, what I really want to do is just kind of start compiling a database of all the series I have on the go, and I'll do that, and then I'll come back to you and kind of see where we're going. Okay, hi, I'm coming to you the next night, so it's Monday, like 7:30 now. I started on that spreadsheet that I was telling you guys about, and it ended up taking me like way too much time yesterday. So I really went through basically the last 3 years of my reading on Goodreads and identified all the series that I've started, that I've progressed on, and all the ones that are, you know, and that I have stuff to read for. And I put them all in a spreadsheet, and I'm still not 100% done in it, but I did identify basically what books I have to read left in every single series. And now I am, and I've also like really tried to break it down for what ones I'm up to date with. So I did put any that I've read the first book and like the second book is not yet released, just so that way I'm aware of, like, especially if there's been names announced. So that way I'm aware of what ones are coming and which ones potentially I'll want to prioritize when they come, and which ones, yeah, like I'm almost caught up in, because there's a few that I potentially am very close to being caught up in or completely done and just need to make my way through. So I'll quickly show you that. So still very much a bit of a disaster, but I have like the different series. So here's one that I just started, Lost and Found by Catherine Coles. I read books 1, which was read in 2025, and then I have these final 4 to read, like The Edens by Daphne Perry. I read these 2 in 2024. The this one 2025, and then three more to read before I can finish. Some like this one, like The Wayward Children by Shauna McGuire. Read all of these prior to 2024, and now I think there is 2 that are currently out, and this one is coming out soon. So I just need to go in and like color code the remaining ones. But I know like The Will of the Many, here's one that I am caught up in. So I think this will make it much easier for myself going forward to really keep track of where I am. I like this idea of being able to go in and just like check something off every time I continue on in a series. Much easier than just kind of having it, you know, blankly in my mind of, oh yeah, I read that book at one point. Maybe I'll eventually think of it again. Yeah, just easy to know like where I'm at in series, because I usually know where I'm at in a series, but very, very common for me to like start a series and then completely forget that I started it. Also, I will use this to identify any that I'm going to DNF going forward, which again, just easy for me to keep in my mind of what I might not want to do. But I'm really happy with this. I'm really happy that like I at least have a place to keep my mind a little more organized now. And so yeah, I did a little bit of reading. When I was working today, I spent a bit of time listening to Ship of Destiny by Robin Hobb. This is the 3rd book in the Live Ship Traders trilogy, which is her 2nd series within the Realm of the Elderling world, which that every time I try to explain it, so confusing. It all takes place in the same world, but in this one we are following a new cast of characters in a different area, and it's this world, well, really they are traders, and we're following a lot of their society itself, and they have this really unique thing where basically people are able to create live ships. They're made out of like this special type of magical wood, and if a family has 3 members of that family die within the ship and basically like give their body to the ship, eventually the ship is able to create, like I kind of described it as an avatar, where it's like this wooden body that is alive comes to life, and they are basically the ship personified. And they are like, the benefits to having one of these live ships is that they are obviously like, if you have this magical being, they're more intelligent, they're able to better navigate you, and just like they're better off at like, the only thing I can think of is navigation, but I think like if there's any storms, if there's pirates, anything like that, they protect you more. So we're following like one family. In the 1st book, the patriarch of the family dies, and with his death it brings forth this live ship, and now we're following the repercussions of him dying, who has taken over the ship, and basically how that affects every single member of the family, and the crazy shit that happens because of that. I love this series. I've given the first 2 5 stars, but because I am so hesitant to finish series, I started the 3rd one and never really progressed. So where I'm at right now, I have 8 hours left in the audiobook. I do listen to it on like 2.5 times speed, so you know, I don't really know where that actually brings me. One thing I really, really hate about Audible is that it doesn't give you a percentage of the way you are through a book. You kind of have to guess it based off a graph, like, and what they show, because they do like a bar of how far along you are, but it can be a little difficult to figure out. So I am not 100% sure exactly how far I am in. I would say maybe 60%. I'm pretty sure I'm over halfway, but not entirely sure. But yeah, I am enjoying that one quite a bit. And then I only got a few chapters in, but I did start reading An Echo of Things to Come by James Islington. This is the 2nd book in, I think the series is called like the Lycarius series, but the 1st book was The Shadow of What Was Lost. Really enjoyed that one. This is another one, like I read a lot about fantasy, and I do find it very hard to describe some of these books at times. Book 1, like I was trying to describe it for my best fantasy that I read in 2024. I could not like form a coherent thought about this one, but basically there's these magic users. Something came to place like in the previous generation in this world, and these tenets were set on them. So now anybody who has this magic has to swear by these tenets, and there's like a bunch of things of like they're only allowed to use it in certain circumstances, they're not allowed to use it to harm someone, like a lot of things. And anybody who had this specific magic to like control minds or anything that was more mentally related, so like control minds, view, like have visions, all these things, I think they were executed. And we're following one of our main characters who is discovering that he might have one of these types of powers, and as he kind of leaves this magical school that he was in and goes on a journey from there. Really enjoyed the 1st book. I thought it was like really fun, and I'm enjoying getting back into this world, though I do say like I feel like I forgot quite a bit from the 1st book, which is a slight issue, and it is a huge book. It's like 800 pages, so it's a little slow going, but we're like, I think I can keep going on that one. The loan is about due back to the library in 2 days, so I do really need to prioritize finishing that. And then over the next 2 days as I'm working, I probably will be able to finish Ship of Destiny. I just like really need to like actually, I focus and make sure that I'm like listening to my book while I work, which shouldn't be an issue. But yeah, we made some progress, not a crazy amount. And I think I'm gonna try to keep reading a bit of An Echo of Things to Come tonight. All right, it is Tuesday night now, so I don't know, I think it's like 6 p.m. or something. We went to Costco after work and thankfully was not busy, and we had like a very, very quick in and out, which was exactly what we're hoping for. Like some nights, I mean, obviously you can spend a lot of time there, and we did spend a lot of money, but it is so nice when it's one of those nights when you can just like immediately like go and hit everything that you need and don't have to spend a crazy amount of time. So I today managed to listen to about probably another hour of Ship of Destiny. Really not taking a lot of time to focus on that one, but I do really, really want to try to finish this before the week is out. I think I can. I just kind of need to like listen to it a little bit more throughout the day, and still enjoying it, still have the same thoughts. And I've also gotten, now I think I'm 70% into An Echo of Things to Come, and I'm trying to finish this one off tonight because it is due back to the library tomorrow, my digital hold. And I'm really unfortunately feeling that this one is just not quite hitting for me. I think part of it is that so we're following we're following the same cast of characters, but there's more of an emphasis on one of the characters that was more of like a secondary person in the last book. We're learning a lot more about him in this one, and it's not as interesting as I thought it would be. And a lot of this, it seems like so much of the information is being like, they're just coming across documents and they're reading textbooks, and we're getting the excerpts of that and like flashbacks, and just that's kind of how everything's being presented to us. Or like this one guy, he lost his memory and he's being told a bunch of things that happened, and just something about the way the story is being told is making it a little bit less enjoyable for me. And I just don't necessarily love the way that they're just discovering everything like through letters and through textbooks, like all these things. Like I don't know what it is, it just feels like we're being told the information instead of actually living it. So it's kind of just not hitting as much for me as the first book was. And unfortunately I'm feeling like this one's probably going to be more in the 3-star realm, like really something that I wish would be a little bit better, but not having like the best feeling ever for it. So I'm going to keep tonight I'm going to keep reading that one. That's my primary emphasis for the next few hours, is that I want to get that done and really, really focus on it. So hopefully we can have like at least one book kind of checked off, one book set that we could finish and we've read by the end of today. Okay, it's Wednesday now, so I'm off work today, which is really nice. And like I don't know what's going on with this music, but I'm getting like quite a few things done. So right now on our way to a vaccine. We're traveling down south next month, so we figured it's probably time to get up to date on all these vaccinations that like really have not done in so long. And I guess this is the first time that I'm traveling in a while too, where like, especially when I was younger, I was like, whatever, it doesn't matter. Now that I'm like in my 30s, I'm like, I don't want to get sick. I don't really want anything to hit. But yeah, I'm off work. Did get some like really bad work news yesterday, which has been like stressing me out like crazy. But yeah, today's good. Today's gonna be very productive. I'll talk more when I get home, but we have a lot going on. Hi, so I ended up filming like no updates yesterday, but I got my hair done. I went much redder than usual and I really like how it turned out. But yeah, I ended up just kind of being exhausted because I was out of the house for a lot of the day and just running around doing a bunch of things and not wanting to really update. So we are Thursday today and we've read a little bit more, not a crazy amount, nowhere near as much as I was kind of hoping to. But first book is done for this video, which is An Echo of Things to Come. I will say, as I was kind of talking about before, this one didn't live up for me, unfortunately, and I do think a lot of it is because it was so much of it was in flashback, so much of it was just discovering things through writing, and I'm giving this one 3 stars. I don't think I necessarily love where the story is going. It's not really like leading in a way that I necessarily find super interesting, so unfortunately it's not one that I'm really getting excited for, and I have a feeling I know where, there's a pretty good sense of where book 3 is gonna go, and that's not really something that like I'm super excited by either. So I will finish off the series. Like of course I'm going to. I just want to see kind of what happens, but otherwise like not super invested in it at this point. And I can definitely see where like James Islington's writing has really improved with The Will of the Many, because that was one of my absolute favorite books of 2024, and I can just see like his writing has elevated so much since he wrote this original trilogy. But yeah, that one's done. I did start on Twisted Soul, which is book 3 in the Cursed Legacy series by Morgan B. Lee. Once I finish this one, I'll be caught up in the series, and then there's a new one coming out later this year. But this is just like a why choose fantasy romance. There's a bunch of different magical creatures, and all of them are like, there's this central romance between 5 main characters, and they are trying to take down this authoritative group within the world. Really loved book 1 in this. It was, again, like one of my favorite fantasy romances that I read last year. Book 2, fun. This one, it's continuing to be fun. Like I'm really having no issues at all, and it's just continuing to be like a very good time overall. So also a very fast read. So it's one that I think that like once I actually sit down and really focus on it, I should be able to get through fairly quickly. I'm at like 20% right now, and I would really like to, I don't know, maybe try to finish that tonight, because I do want to see how many more books I can read this week. Like I feel like I'm not really hitting quite as many as I hope that I would right now, and I might just switch over to, because I might switch over to reading like a few more romance series, like books in those, to get a few more books checked off. And I want to see maybe like, are there any that are at the end of the series, or like more that I can read and then just say that I have these series catched up on, because I really want to have like more caught up on my spreadsheet. I want to be able to like, after every one of these videos come out with like, you know, making good progress and looking at it and being like, we are checking away the number of series we have going. So I might look at what ones I can read this week to really like get some things finished off, which again would feel fantastic, because I think maybe Jade Legacy, I think that's one that might be a really good one to do, because then that series will be done. And like also with Twisted Soul, when I'm done this, I will be caught up. And I think there's definitely a few more that like I can absolutely read this week and like get fully caught up on those series. Weekend is finally here. So it is Friday after work. It's like 4:30 now, something like that. So we are going out to dinner with some friends tonight, but for now we have like an hour before we have to leave. So, you know, we decided let's just get started on rewatching Squid Games, because the new season came out earlier, a week or 2 ago, and we kind of decided like we were originally just gonna watch season 2. Then like why not just rewatch it all? We really loved first season. One of the few shows that we like binged in pretty much one sitting, which we don't really do that often. So, you know, it's one that we really like. So that's gonna be tonight. We're gonna watch that, then we're going to a friend's house. So we have to leave here like just over an hour. So we have like hopefully enough time to finish an episode. But decided like really I'd pop in and give some updates just before we head out, and while Simon's just showering. So I've continued on with Twisted Soul, and I'm now 45% into it. I think this is going to be my least favorite in the series so far, because I think what I was enjoying most in the beginning books was that there was a lot of tension and a lot of like yearning and pining between the characters, and like they really hadn't admitted any of their feelings towards each other. But we're at a point now where things are starting to like be addressed. They're starting to talk about how they feel about certain things, and don't get me wrong, I love seeing the scenes. I love seeing like all these declarations of love and everything, but I do also really tend to enjoy seeing a like, you know, just a pining, a yearning, a slower burn. So sometimes when like a slow burn after they get together, it ends up being a little like, you know, not as exciting. So enjoying that fair amount though, like maybe not as much as I've enjoyed the other books, but I'm still enjoying it. And then I found a few other books that I could check out from the library that will be relatively quick reads, and some of them some of them, once I'm done, I will like have caught up in the series. So that will feel really good. So one of them, I started The Brightness Between Us by Elliot Shriver. This is the second book in a little like sci-fi, I think it's YA sci-fi series. The first one, it is just about these two boys on a space journey to go rescue one of their sisters. And they're both representatives from these different corporations who are teaming up together to do this big rescue mission, because the sister who has disappeared on Mars is supposedly like, she's a very well known within the society. So it's something that like will bring very good press to them. And that book, it was one that I really was enjoying it. Well, I enjoyed it a lot, but it was like the first half of that book, it felt like a very typical kind of like space story. It was just like felt like a very typical YA sci-fi. And then something happened about halfway through and wildly changed my views on that book and just made it so good. So I'm reading the sequel to it now, which takes place about 20 years later and follows the children of the original characters. And I'm enjoying it. It seems like there's different, like, so it seems like there's, I think based on like where I just got to, so it's following the children, but then it's also following the characters from the first book in their lives before they went on this space exploration. So I don't know if I'm going to enjoy that part as much, but it is interesting. Like, I'm interested to see where it goes, I guess. And then I noticed too, so I have The Darkness Within Us by Trisha Levenseller. I really want to start this one. It is the sequel to The Shadows Between Us. It's the sequel to The Shadows Between Us, which is like a fantasy romance I really enjoyed. Like this woman, and she decides to try and seduce this like Shadow King. Really like that one. And I also just checked out Lost and Lassoed by Lila Sage, which is, I don't know if this is the third or fourth book, but it's in a like cowboy romance kind of series. And I think if I've read this one, I'll be fully caught up on that series. So like if I'm continue with the two I'm reading and then read those two, that will be 4 series that I'm like completely caught up on now, which will feel fantastic with this. Because I'm going to try to keep track of the percentages of weights that I'm through, like how many series I've made my way through and stuff. Which, yeah, I just want to keep like kind of track of what percentage of series I have ongoing compared to ones that are like caught up or completed from this year. But like also looking at it, like I have so many things that I want to read right now. That's kind of the crazy thing, is that I see so many things that I want to do. So for another video, I just read Dungeon Crawler Carl, and this is a crazy like D&D adventure basically through these dungeons. And that book, like I don't think that video will be up by the time this one's posted, but oh my god, that one was fantastic. It was a 5-star, and there are 7 books in that series, and it is taking everything from me to not just immediately dive into book 2 right now. Like I'm trying to be smart about this and like, you know, read some of the other books that I've checked out of the library first, try to like get some other books checked off my list. But I just like desperately want to continue on in that series because it was one of the most fun things I've ever read. So tonight Simon should be done very shortly. We will watch Squid Game, then go to our friendlies for dinner. They're like an hour drive away, so you know it will take a bit to get there. And also I feel like we're probably gonna be home fairly late tonight, like no matter what. So I don't know if I'll be updating again tonight. I also don't know if I'll really have any more reading time tonight. And then tomorrow too, we're going, actually I'm really excited, we're going book shopping to like my favorite Goose bookstore, so that will be great. And then we also need to do like mattress shopping, grocery shopping, that kind of stuff. So I don't know, I have a feeling tomorrow will be pretty busy, so maybe my goal of reading the rest of these 4 books in the next few days will be a little bit too ambitious, but we'll see. We'll really try. I think if I really make an effort, maybe I can finish all 4 of them. Okay, so pretty much all we've done today, and honestly, like a big part of yesterday too, was just watch Squid Game. We're like halfway through season 2 right now, and just absolutely did. So it's been kind of hard to really have any motivation to do anything else today, which honestly, completely fine. It's just one of those days where all we want to do is watch TV. And we rewatched all of season 1. It was great. Really immediately got back into the story and are enjoying season 2 bit. I did some reading today, kind of like some while watching TV and some just in between. But I finished, what is it called? The next book in the Morgan Beatley series. What is it? Immediately, like I know I just looked at the name of it. Twisted Soul. Twisted Soul. So I did finish that today, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this one. I think definitely less than I've enjoyed other installations in the series. But because I feel like a big part of it was just our main characters are kind of like on the run, and that was a lot of the book is just them going from location to location and just kind of talking about like what they need to do to stay safe and all of these things. And that was kind of getting a little tedious, but I do think that there was some like really good character development in this one also. So like that kind of helped it a bit, made it a little bit more interesting. So I'm gonna give that one 4 stars, which is just staying in line with every book in this series, is pretty much a 4-star read for me. So that one's done. Made some more progress in The Brightness Between Us, which I should be able to finish tonight. And I started on Lost and Lassoed. Again, I should be able to finish that tonight. Won't talk about those too much yet. I'll come back in and give some thoughts later on in them, because I just want to, I'm gonna film a video right now and then just really like quickly get done, and then going to probably try to read as much as I can. I still have like a few more hours or I'll be going to bed, so I do think for sure I should be able to finish at least one of these books. Let's make some more progress in this. And yeah, like again, I don't think I'm doing anything tomorrow, so I should have some reading time, but I just really want to try to read as much as I can this weekend. Hi, we're on the final day, so we are definitely gonna be finishing this video off today, and we're gonna get some more reading done. It is evening now. I had a day. I didn't want to do things, but I listened to a few more hours of Ship of Destiny. Really loving this one. Love the direction this is going. Really happy that I'm finally like making progress in this book and potentially going to finish off this trilogy soon. I think realistically I won't have this book done tonight because there's still another 3 hours of the audiobook, and I don't think realistically that I actually will be able to finish it, but I'm still making really good progress, and I think like within the next day or two I definitely can finish it. So like consider this one, like if it is not read in this one, consider that by the time this video is up it should be done. And then I did finish The Brightness Between Us, and I'm so disappointed in this one. I think this was like the most unnecessary sequel I've ever read. It honestly, in my opinion, did nothing to, my dog's snoring so loudly next to me if you hear that. It did nothing to advance the story in a way. Like I felt like it was a very unnecessary addition, because a lot of it, like we're following time on Earth and the vast future where we're following children of colonists, and we're following like I think there's thousands and thousands of years in between these two timelines, and there is a relevance. There does end up being a relevance to why we're following both of these, but I just think the whole story was unnecessary. It was so like just boring overall to follow, and didn't really like add anything at all that I think it needed. Like I truly found this so unnecessary, and just in a sense like kind of giving me a bad taste from just this duology as a whole, because I love the first book, but now just thinking of this edition as well, I don't felt like any of the characters felt well-rounded in this one. I don't feel like any of their motivation made sense, and I didn't enjoy like any perspectives. Like, there's also part of it we're following a colony on this new planet, and we did not have nearly enough details about any of what was going on there, about like their day-to-day life, about the planet itself, about just like personal relationships. I don't feel like we had anything to like, I mean we had some things, but we did not have nearly enough, and I think that so much more could have been added in and made this so much better. So I'm really disappointed in that, and I did ultimately end up giving this one 2 stars. Like I think it really just didn't do it for me. So I'm gonna be still reading tonight. We finished Squid Game, and we did finish the rewatch of season 1 and then all of season 2. And like if you watch season 2, like what the hell was the ending to that? That was, I feel like, the most anticlimactic ending. And yes, it technically ended on a cliffhanger, but at the same time, like I feel like it could have been more of one. Like maybe there's a little reveal that could have been added in to make it like more exciting to go to the next season, because it really just feels like the story was unfinished, and it's just like they didn't give a adequate conclusion to the season. Yeah, it just felt very like there should have been, I don't know, another 5 minutes even to that episode. So now that we're done that, we decided to go to House of the Dragon, because we watched season 1 when it was airing, and then haven't gotten to season 2 yet, because at the time it was airing we were rewatching Game of Thrones, and we're like, no, we can't do this 2 at the same time, and we wanted to rewatch season 1. So after Game of Thrones Thrones was done, it ended up kind of like being one of those issues of where like, okay, we need to take a few months before we dive back into this world. So we're finally there. We're finally at a point where we're ready to watch it. But we're on season 1, episode 1 right now, and just too many brutal birthing scenes in this season. But really excited to get to this because I loved season 1 so much, and I'm excited to see like the rest of it. So that's the plan for tonight, is probably watching that, continuing reading what I have ongoing, and I'll check back in later. Hi, so it's a few days later. I did not end up filming an outro to this video because honestly I completely forgot. When I filmed that last clip, in my mind I was done, this video was done, and I had nothing else to do. But I did end up reading more. I just completely forgot to update you guys about it. So I finished Lost and Lassoed by Lila Sage, and this is book 3 in the Done and Dusted series. So I am caught up until the next one comes out, which I think is like April or May. But anyways, this one, it's interesting because this was one of the romances I was most excited for. It is from the first book, the main character's best friend and her older brother, and throughout the entire series they have this dynamic that they kind of hate each other and all of this. And then this was their book where they got together, and they were very much like, you know, enemies to lovers, just kind of like butting heads constantly. And I was really excited to get this one. I don't know, it just didn't really do anything for me. I'm giving it a 3-star, but it just really didn't end up going to where I hoped it would, I guess. Like, I didn't feel emotionally invested, and I don't know, like I feel sometimes like there's my chill silly little romances, and this kind of definitely like hits into that, because it just wasn't like my silly romances that I end up enjoying just reading for a fun time. This is one of those. And then I also have like very hard-hitting romances. Those are the ones that I tend to rate really highly. They're longer, usually more like emotionally impactful, deal with a lot of shit. Those ones are like a different category of romance for me. These are my silly like popcorn romances that are just like a fun time. And that, yeah, so like what I'm saying is a 3-star. I didn't not enjoy it by any means. Like, I definitely enjoyed it. It just wasn't like the next best thing ever. So we're giving this one 3-star. And this one, I guess technically now I'm caught up in that series until the next one comes out. So that feels great. So I don't remember what else I had said in my last clips, but we're just gonna end the video off here. So thanks for watching. I'll be doing one of these videos every week, or not every week, every month, because I want to just kind of really stay on top of series and make sure that I'm really putting that effort into continuing on in them, and yeah, just being on top of what I'm reading. So thank you for watching this, and hopefully I'll see you in a video soon. Bye.